Dragon Ball Super is nearly upon us, yet there is still very little known about it. But I have my own theory. Hello there, beautiful friends from around the world. I'm going to be your host, Blackenfist, and I wanted to have a little discussion here about Dragon Ball Super and what direction it might be going in. Now, of course, this is all going to be speculatory. It's all going to be from my own perspective and opinion, because quite honestly, there still hasn't been anything announced about Dragon Ball Super, even though it's apparently supposed to be debuting in July of this year, which honestly, if you think about it, is pretty crazy. Dragon Ball Super is only about 2 months away from release, yet we haven't had a single image, news, or any details that have come out with it, which is pretty strange if you think about it. We don't even have the logo for what the series could be. But after thinking about what possibly could be in Dragon Ball Super and what direction Akira Toriyama might want to take the series, I have come to several conclusions. One subject that a lot of people have been speculating on is when exactly is this series going to be taking place? Now, I have come to the conclusion that it can only take place in 2 places. One, obviously taking place right after Fukkatsu no F. Keep in mind, the only information that we have about when this series is supposed to be taking place is after the defeat of Buu. But with the new movies and with a lot of new information in recent years about all the things that have happened after Buu, that is not enough. So I am fairly certain that it's either going to be after Fukkatsu no F, or more likely, and my personal theory is, this new series, Dragon Ball Super, is going to be taking place in between the 5-year gap of Z and GT. Now, I know that in the Funimation dub, the gap between Z and GT was longer, but quite honestly, that is completely irrelevant. It only matters what originally Toei Animation set the gap, and in the original Japanese, the gap between Z and GT was 5 years. So my guess is that this new series is going to be taking place in the 5-year gap between Z and GT. Now, a lot of people are saying, well, why exactly is that? I got pretty good evidence to support why I think that it's going to take place then. The biggest reason is the schedule that's in Japan right now. Currently, Dragon Ball Kai is airing the Buu Saga episodes right now. The Kai episodes are about to finish up the Buu Saga. In fact, coincidentally, Dragon Ball Kai is going to end around July of this year, right when Dragon Ball Super is about to begin. I don't find this a coincidence. Dragon Ball Super will be taking the time slot that Dragon Ball Kai is currently taking in the Japanese schedule. And one of the biggest reasons why I believe Dragon Ball Super takes place after the end of the Dragon Ball Z anime is because, think about this, Dragon Ball Kai is obviously going to end after the 10-year gap at the World Tournament where they meet Oob. Well, it would be perfect that once Dragon Ball Kai ends, Dragon Ball Super immediately picks up right after that ending. So that is probably the strongest evidence to suggest that this series is going to be taking place in between the Z and GT eras. Of course, this is not 100%, but I am fairly certain it will be. If it not, it might be taking place after Resurrection F. Another thing that a lot of people have been saying is the new series is going to incorporate a lot more the thing that Beer said at the end of Battle of Gods, and his statement of there are 12 universes in total in the Dragon Ball world. And I really feel that this concept of multiple universes is going to be explored in the Dragon Ball Super. There is a high probability that maybe Dragon Ball Super is all about exploring the other universes. Now, a lot of people have been saying whether Dragon Ball Super is going to completely overwrite GT. And I've always found this conversation a little bit confusing because I always felt GT was already overridden by Battle of Gods. Now, let's keep in mind that GT kind of, by most of the fan base, has been already considered to be not canon, not legitimate, yet people still are happy to receive GT characters in the video games, for instance. They don't reject GT in that sense, they just reject it as a case of legitimacy. However, disregarding the fact that Beerus and Whis were never mentioned in GT, and Super Saiyan God also was never mentioned, obviously, because Battle of Gods came after GT in the real world. Disregarding all those obvious facts, I mean, the fact that Emperor Pilaf has already wished himself to be a kid in Battle of Gods kind of already contradicts what happens in GT, because in the very first episode they show up as old people. Now, unless in Dragon Ball Super, Pilaf and his gang somehow return back to their normal age or turn old or something, that still stands, and that means that GT is not going to be fit in this. Once again, I find this conversation weird since I thought GT was already not considered to be legitimate, but I guess a lot of fans are kind of saying, well, will Dragon Ball Super completely, concretely bury GT? We'll see. I kind of already feel that Battle of Gods already kind of did that, but who knows, maybe Dragon Ball Super will take it even further. Now there's also the issue of length, of how long Dragon Ball Super is going to run. And I know that in the first video I did on Dragon Ball Super, I said it was going to be around 20 something episodes, but after doing a little bit more research and just thinking about it just a bit more, I think that this series is at least going to be around 52 episodes. This new series is going to at least be running for 1 full year. And the reason I say this, and the reason I think it's going to be much longer than I previously thought, is because I looked at what this series is replacing. Dragon Ball Super is replacing the Dragon Ball Kai time slot, which Dragon Ball Kai is a fairly long series, longer than most anime series. And Dragon Ball Kai, by the way, was taking the time slot of Toriko, which is another long series. Toriko obviously is based on a shonen manga, which could be running indefinitely. It's one of those series where it doesn't end until the manga ends, so it could easily accumulate hundreds of episodes. Now, the only reason Toriko ended was because it didn't perform well, but make no mistake about it, if Toriko was performing well, would still be running in the current Dragon Ball Kai's time slot. So, that being said, considering that Dragon Ball Super is taking that time slot of long series before it, my hunch is that Dragon Ball Super probably will be, at the very least, something around 52 episodes long, at least runs for a full year's worth of episodes. So we could be seeing a lot of new material coming our way for Dragon Ball. That is, of course, if the series doesn't completely tank. But anyway, guys, those are my thoughts on Dragon Ball Super. I hope you guys enjoyed my own thoughts, and perhaps you agree with me. Maybe I really want to hear what you guys think. Honestly, I really want to hear what you guys think in the comments, because right now the sky's the limit, guys. It's literally the limit. I mean, Dragon Ball Super, we have no idea what it is. If there is any time to speculate about the Dragon Ball franchise and where it's going, it is definitely in this moment when Dragon Ball Super is about to premiere in 2 months. So if there's any moment where you guys want to leave me some comments and share your thoughts, it is this moment, especially if there's anything that you think I missed. But but guys, until next time, I will be Blackenfist, and I hope that you enjoyed my thoughts. I'm Blackenfist, and I'm out. God!